Guys, my name is Rebecca. Welcome back to my channel. So I went minorly viral on Reddit last week. Maybe it's 2 weeks ago by the time this video gets out. I did what I felt like my migraines looked like, and a lot of people seem to relate. So today I'm going to show you how I did it and talk you through why I chose what I did. I'm also going to make it a little more detailed because when I did the original look, Cassie, please throw it up on the screen now. I was in the middle of a migraine, so I was focusing more on like getting my pain out and not on like the detail of makeup. So that's what we're gonna do today. If you're interested in what my migraines look like, stay tuned. First, primer face. So I want my face to look really matte because I kind of want to look like, not like actually dead, but like when I have a migraine I feel really dead. And I just feel like I kind of, I don't really do my skincare. I don't. You're in bed all day with like an ice pack on your head. You're not going to look glowing and gorgeous. You're going to look like crusty and gross. So matte primer. Also prime your eyes because we are going to be putting makeup on still. This is just a representation of my migraines. So I started getting migraines when I was 12. Yeah, I was about 12. I was at camp and we went to Dorney Park for the day. And I forgot to drink water all day, as you do when you are 12. You're not really like, oh, I have to stay hydrated. And I was on roller coasters all day. Just like generally not taking care of myself because when a 12-year-old takes care of themselves, you know? Also when I do looks like this, I prefer using a wedge sponge over like my beauty blender because this sponge is going to be ruined by the end of it and I don't want to have to like try to wash the beauty blender. So I'm just wetting my wedge sponge right now. So I ended up, this is the story of my first migraine. I ended up having this horrible, awful, terrible, disgusting, atrocious headache. I didn't know it was a migraine. I was like, why does my head hurt? Why do I feel like that? I'm using my Mehron Paradise Paint palette today. This thing is super hard to get open, but I love it. It's such a great palette. There we go. So I ended up on the floor of my dorm, not my dorm, my bunk, like heaving. I thought I was dying. I had never felt anything like that before. So I didn't know what was going on. I was like, why do I feel like this? Why do I feel absolutely atrocious? I ended up going to the health center that night. They didn't really know what was going on either. I mean, no one expects a 12-year-old to like have pain like that. I am putting on foundation. My makeup professor from college told me this one time. I was doing a different look and he was like, you should really put on foundation. It just, even if you are trying to make yourself look more tired, it pulls the look together. So that's what I'm gonna do. Anyway, so I ended up in the health center. I just was not well, and they, when you're at camp, unless you have like a condition, you know, where you have to take meds every night, they have to call your parents if you need Tylenol or something. It was like 10 p.m. at night and the camp was calling my mom. She must have thought I was dead or something, or like seriously injured, and they were just like, can we give Rebecca Tylenol? She was like, yeah, I don't really, fine, sure. So I got Tylenol and then ended up staying the night in the health center and ate breakfast there. I just remember feeling like nauseous and generally icky, and I had this horrible burning in my face and head. And that was my first migraine. Nobody knew what was happening. My counselors didn't really know what was happening. Now I know what was happening, but back then I was just like, what a weird, awful, awful headache. Migraines are terrible. They are atrocious. Where's my glue stick? I am gonna glue my eyebrow down because it just pulls the look together a little bit better. I'm doing all of this on the right side of my face because that is where my migraines are, on the right side. Where's my spoolie? There's my spoolie. I should have put my foundation on after I glued down my eyebrow, but here we are. If you know how to glue down your brows better than I do, please comment down below. I asked this in my other video. I don't know which video is going to go up first, so we'll see. We will see. So I've been having migraines pretty consistently since I was 12 years old, since that very first one after the day at Dorney Park, which was a truly awful experience, especially because nobody knew it was happening to me. I'm sure the nurses did, but like not really. I don't know if they suspected it was migraine and just like didn't say that or what. I should ask my mom about that and actually ask her what they talked about in the phone call. And then I started having migraines pretty consistently. I would say for the first couple years I would only get like one every 2 or 3 months. And then as I've gotten older, they've increased. So by the time I was in college, I was getting like 2 to 3 a month, which honestly, not that bad. And I just put up with them because I knew that some people had migraines like every day. And I was like, I can deal with it. But I did get them often enough that I had a routine for when I had them. So I'd take my Excedrin, I'd chug water, I would take ZzzQuil, get a cold washcloth, and then zonk out for 12 hours. And then I'd wake up and it was gone. And then one day, it didn't go away. And then it didn't go away again. 3 days later, I ended up in my college's health center, and I was like, I've had a migraine for 3 days. I really don't have that many health conditions, but I have enough where like every time I ended up in the health center, they were like, oh, this is like a real health problem for you. It's like, yeah, it's a real problem. Help. They sent me to the hospital. I ended up in the ER. It was a whole thing. It ended up being fine. I ended up being fine. They gave me like a migraine cocktail. I passed out for 3 hours in the hospital, woke up, was fine, got sent home, and that was that. I was like, okay, that was the worst migraine I've had. It's fine. Still at that point, I only had, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4 a month. Like still not a lot in terms of like badness of migraine, like oftenness. You know, I was still like, there's still people who get migraines 15 or more days out of the month. I am not one of those people, and I plan on keeping it that way. And then COVID happened. I came home, and all of a sudden, my migraines were increasing. I don't think it has anything to do with COVID. I think it has to do with like age, and like my body was always gonna do this. And then I had a 6-day migraine. Let me tell you something about 6-day migraines. They're not fun. Like, no shit, they're not fun, but like, oh my god. And I was really trying not to go to the hospital because it was during COVID. And there were people that like genuinely needed that space. So like I went to my grandma's ENT, and I finally ended up at urgent care, and then finally ended up making an appointment with a neurologist. For so long I felt like, oh, I don't have it that bad. I don't really need to go see a neurologist. Don't worry, I got yelled at on Reddit for that. So this is what my migraines feel like, is like red hot burning all over my face, concentrated to the right side mostly. It starts up at the top of my head and both works its way around my temple. Rebecca, you have red hair. No one can see red paint in your red hair. think generally I get my migraines at night, which is really nice, except for when I was abroad, and my friend Max, who does my backing tracks, so that should be a name that you're familiar with if you watch my videos. We went to a drag show. It was a whole bunch of drag queens. I think it was like Bob the Drag Queen and Monet, or honestly I can't remember because I ended up getting a migraine. We had been traveling. Was that okay? I got back from Amsterdam, had one night back in London, and then immediately, like the next day, Max and I were flying to Norway. So, and it just so happened that on like the night that I got back, there was this drag show, and we both really wanted to go. So we bought the tickets. They weren't that expensive, and I was like, okay, it'll be great. Max took a nap. I did my makeup. Because he also in Amsterdam? I genuinely can't remember, like, who was there. I just remember that I was in Amsterdam, and I hate riding bikes. That's not the point of this story. So Max took his like 2-hour nap while I did my makeup for 2 hours. I was so excited. I was like, if they see me, if we get to meet any of the drag queens, like I want them to tell me how amazing my makeup is. We actually met one of their openers. Her name was Crayola, I think. She was hilarious. We met her while we were walking back to the train station because we had to leave early because I had this awful migraine, and she was like, well, at least your makeup looks amazing. And I was like, that helps a little. I felt so bad. So I had this horrible migraine, and I got myself like a Diet Coke to get the caffeine because nobody had Tylenol or Excedrin or anything, so I couldn't take anything. Also, I don't think they would give a random girl drugs, like any kind of drugs. If a girl walked up to them and was like, oh, I have a migraine, can I have Tylenol? I don't think anyone would have helped me. Maybe that's just like my own thing. I don't know. So I ended up forcing Max to, I didn't force him, like he could have stayed, but he wasn't going to leave me alone, like all alone in a random London club. So he came back with me, and I felt horrible. And then we were actually going to go see Alyssa Edwards like a few weeks later, and he was like, listen to me, if you do what you did at the last drag show, I'm going to kill you. I'm personally going to kill you. And I was like, you know what? If you kill me, I think that's totally fair. I think I deserve it. Because if I get a migraine during Alyssa Edwards, I'm going to push through it. I want to meet her so badly. I didn't get a migraine during Alyssa Edwards, thank God. But I agree with him. I also would have been upset. So, okay, so the reason I put red all over my face is because my face feels like it's on fire. It is the deepest, deep burning sensation I have ever felt in my life, and I will probably continue to feel. And then my eye feels, I get an aura. If I had white sclera lenses, like the phantom white ones, I would use them, but I don't because I'm a big fat baby and I don't know how to put contacts in because I don't wear glasses. And then my eye feels like it feels really hard. I don't know how to describe it other than it feels really hard. So this is like face paint, which is why it doesn't blend super well. I really should get myself some cream paints because that would be better for this, but here we are. And then my whole nose burns too, which is what this is about. I'm just gonna put that over. And then really, really bad ones kind of bleed over to the left side, which is what this is about. So that's the eye situation done. It just looks like I have a black eyebrow. Bad ones will like also go all the way down my nose and onto my cheekbone. Just want to get some more red into my hair. I don't need more red in my hair. I am a redhead. It's a good thing I have to wash my hair tonight. I say tonight, it's already 8 p.m. So we'll see how this goes. Part of the reason why my hair is so messy is because when I have a migraine, I don't care what I look like. Again, because I'm mostly just asleep. So my migraines start right here. They come shooting down my eye, down into my nose, and then also this whole section of my head tightens up. It also goes down onto the back of my neck, but I'm not going to paint the back of my neck. I hope you understand why. I'm not going to do that. Okay, and then... delicious. I'm going to take another concealer brush. I'm going to dip it in to the orange shade. Now I'm pretty sure this is nerve pain, based on the feeling that I get in my back. I'm pretty sure this is nerve pain that I'm feeling, like shooting down into my head. So it originates from this spot right here. And then it shoots down through my eyeball. Here's my phone. While I'm doing this, I also just want to like respond to some comments. Okay. I got a lot of comments saying that I look like David Bowie. I'm gonna send a whole bunch of pictures to Cassie. So Cassie, would you please put them on the screen? Thank you. Okay. One person asked me if I would try to do a cluster headache, which I think is really sweet, and I told him I would try, but like, I don't know, I've never had a cluster headache, and they're nicknamed suicide headaches. And that's not something I've ever experienced, and I'm really sorry for you. I do have migraines, so I can't even say I understand the pain of a cluster headache, because I don't, because I've never had one. That's the other thing that really irks me, is just like generally being a woman. When I say things like, oh, I have a migraine, I can't do that, or I sometimes get met with like, oh, I've had a really bad headache before. It's not just a really bad headache though. It's like genuinely, it's more than a bad headache. It's debilitating for me. I spend all day in bed. I have a special ice pack. I have like a whole system. My parents are being loud. Okay. So that's the orange. It also goes a bit to my nose a little bit more than I made it last time. Here. So one comment that I really wanted to touch on was Zuko. I see it. I do see that one. It wasn't that one. It was, this man commented, and at first I was like, oh, like he knows what I'm feeling. He didn't. I mean, I think generally does. So this isn't an experience that only I've had. This is an experience that I'm sure many women have had in their lives. This man commented and said, I just think it's so funny. First he asked what side it was on because I took a selfie, so the image flipped. And I said, oh, it's the right side. And then he said, if you don't mind me asking, how and when did your migraine start? And I said, he said that his started because he was in the military. Part of the reason I knew it was a man was because of some of the phrasing. It's hard to explain how I knew, but I knew. And I said, oh, I'm really sorry for that. Mine started because I'm a woman, which is true. So I was at Dorney Park, and it was probably due to dehydration, but I did get my first period the next week. So that probably also had a lot to do with it, was I was PMSing and didn't know it. And then he started to explain to me how I was probably just really unhealthy, and it was my diet that was causing the migraines. You see, he had a real legit reason, as he was in the military, and simply being a woman wasn't a good enough excuse for him. So he started explaining. And then a very nice woman commented and was like, this is like, my migraine started when I was 15. So if you want to go see the thread, I'll link it. And then I don't recall default of sex, birth being a cause of them. Many factors can cause them. Dehydration can cause a number of problems, both temporarily and permanently. Your diet, good or bad, is one of the largest factors in how one's body develops and works. Women tend to be low on iron more than men. Women tend to be vegans and not eat red meat, so the plant-based and supplemental iron isn't good enough. Supplements aren't regulated by the FDA, which is true, they're not. But that means he was making a lot of assumptions about me. One, he was assuming that I probably don't eat enough meat, and like, TBH, a lot of vegetables actually have more protein in them than meat does, so like that's not a good enough reason. Also, I'm not a vegan, nowhere do I say I'm a vegan. If you're a vegan, good, I'm proud of you. There's so many good reasons to be vegan. I'm just not interested. So he was assuming that about me, which is really cute, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. And I replied, I just meant like my period, LOL. Thankfully, a lovely lady came to my defense. Dude, it's not within our control, it has to do with hormones. Please don't try to blame women, saying it's our diet. Your response reeks of misogyny. 3 out of 4 migraine sufferers are women. We account for 75% of people who suffer with migraines, and it comes down to our biology. So, basically what she was saying was, it literally has nothing to do with what he was saying. It's literally because I'm a woman. And then he spelled misogyny wrong. It's like, it's funnier than it's sad to me, because he's being told that he's wrong, right? And like being quoted actual studies, and he just doubles down and he's like, no. So anyway, that's how I feel about men. Don't worry, I love my boyfriend. He knows about all this. I was texting him as it was happening, and then he was like sending me his favorite ones. I was like, look at this disgusting man who thinks that he knows more than me because he's a man. Mr. Black. Okay. And then like he posted, and then I got a very nice DM, which made me so, it really made me tear up. I'm looking for it, but I can't even find it. Oh god, I really want to find it. Okay. I was going to give you Reddit Gold or something, but decided Reddit doesn't need the money and it doesn't really do much for you, besides give you like a meaningless award. True, thank you. Instead, I donated $25 to the National Headache Foundation. They don't seem to even have a way to do it in someone's name, but rest assured I was thinking of you when I did it. The fact that somebody like saw this thing that I kind of did haphazardly, and like I put thought into it, but it was more like ow, 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 rather than like, oh, this is what this means and this is what this means. And it touched that person so deeply that they felt the need to donate money is truly insane to me. A lot of people also commented that I should submit this makeup look to the Migraine Foundation and like medical researchers. I don't know. It just, this blew up bigger than I was expecting it to. I was just like, look, this is what I feel like when I'm in pain. Okay, so that's the yellow done. So now we're gonna dip into the white a little bit. Like, this is where the migraine feels like it's coming from. It's really hard to explain, which is why, like, I hope the look makes sense. And then I also feel it in my nose, like over here, so I'm just gonna put a little bit right there. Just gonna go over it to make sure it's like really bright. And this is why I covered my eyebrows, so I could like more easily paint over it. Okay. And here's the fun part. I'm gonna take the stippling sponge. I like the one with the more open texture, so that's the one that I'm gonna use, and then only dip one edge of it. Last time I was doing this, I got too much water on it, and it like defeated the purpose of what I was trying to do. So we're gonna start with the dark blue. Ooh. I have a feeling I got too much water on it again. Actually, okay, what if I like painted it on? That might be the better way to do it. I'm stamping on the back of my hand first to try to get some of it off. Okay. Oh, here we go. It's not that bad. And then I also get it like up into my hairline. So the one way that I've always described my paint is like sparkly. It's kind of like really hard to explain what that means, but this is like what I'm trying to do with the paint, is like sparkly. It kind of goes up the side of my nose. If it's really bad, it will radiate out like this. I want a little bit of green. I'm trying to use like opposite colors to the ones that did the base layer so that it stands out. It makes sense to me. Isn't how it always goes. It makes sense to you and nobody else. That's a cute pattern. I'm gonna throw some more on there though. So that's, I feel like it's nerve pain. I'm not sure, I've never been sure. Even when I describe it to my doctor, he's just like, yeah, that's a classic migraine, don't think into it anymore. And because it's a makeup look, I'm just gonna throw on some yellow eyeliner from NYX. I feel like it looks like a lava monster more than a migraine, but we're not done yet. So you see how I look dead on this side? We're gonna amp that up a little bit. This is a Bentonite bruise wheel. I'm gonna start with the red shade, and that's gonna go all over my eye. This is to represent me rubbing my eyes to try to get the light out. And so I'm gonna put it underneath my eye a little bit. Really just do this messy. You've probably, if you have a migraine, you probably started crying at some point. And I'm gonna do a little bit of the blue shade because it's never a restful sleep when it's a migraine. Don't forget to hit in here. Just really accentuate how unbelievably tired you are. That's the other thing, is the migraine hangover. Nobody really knows about that. I can be migraine hangover for like 3 to 5 days, depending on how bad the migraine itself was. And that just means that I am like delirious. I get confused easily. It's hard to concentrate. The migraine hangover is horrendous. Lips are probably a little bit chapped and dry because you haven't been taking care of yourself. And I'm going to use a little bit of the yellow because you're probably pretty freaking sallow. I'm not getting proper sleep or sunlight. I'm just gonna blend out the edge of this with the cream paint a little bit. And this very tiny, tiny blending brush. A little bit of my foundation. This is just a foundation with like tinted moisturizer, or it's foundation mixed with moisturizer, so I made my own tinted moisturizer. I do that because I like to control the level of opaqueness. The other thing is, you're either really, really dry or like really, really shiny, depending on if your skin type is greasy, is oily or dry. My skin type is kind of just normal right now, and I say right now because it seems to change depending on what medicine I'm on. So. Ooh. Alright. Because this is a makeup look, I'm just going to throw on some mascara to like pull it together. This isn't about like the beauty of the look though, this is about the fact that real people suffer from migraines and like it's awful, it's horrendous. If you've never had a migraine before, this is what it looks like. Or this is what it feels like. That was loud. It's a deep burning sensation on the right side of my face. Starting up here, it shoots down through my eye into my nose. It wraps all the way around the side of my head, down to here, and then shoots down the back of my neck. It tightens up my neck, and this isn't even the rest of it. For me, my shoulders and my upper back get really, really tight, and as do my calves. Couldn't really explain that one. That's how it goes. And then of course I spend all day in bed, so then my lower back hurts, but I have back problems anyway, which is a story for another time. We're talking about this problem, not the one back here. And then I'm sore for days and days following the migraine. And if I end up having migraines like 2 days in a row, it just lasts, and the migraine hangover lasts longer. And before anyone tries to tell me to do yoga or like drink more water or whatever you're gonna tell me to do, I do all of it. I chug water, I drink so much water. You can probably tell that I'm really sick of being told to do things. I am someone who suffers from a few different chronic problems. I have chronic back problems, I have chronic migraines, awful, awful periods. Yoga isn't gonna fix it. Drinking more water isn't gonna fix it. Your MLM isn't gonna fix it. When I first hurt my back, my mom bought this book called like Think Your Back Better or something like that. And when they got to my condition in the book, all it said was talk to your doctor. So you can probably tell that I'm pretty tired of people like giving me advice that they're not qualified to give me. A migraine isn't a regular headache. It's so much worse than a regular headache. It's debilitating. So that's that. Thanks for hanging out with me. Got a lot sadder than I was expecting to. That's really cute. It's a good look. If you have questions about migraines, my migraines specifically or migraines in general, I'm happy to answer them in the comments down below. I'm also going to link the original Reddit post so that you can go look at the comments yourself. If someone says they have migraines, just be nice about it. It's like all I can say. Thanks for hanging out with me today. come back next week. I'll either be singing or doing more makeup. Who knows? Have a good day, guys.